Aloha everybody, John Charles with you, Kaiwaza. Welcome back to my channel and something we haven't done in a while. Time for another Hawaiian slash Exotica slash South Pacific record update. These are records that I've added into my collection in recent months that would fall into the Hawaiian, very broadly based Hawaiian category in my collection. I will preface it by saying, yeah, there really isn't any truly Hawaiian music by Hawaiian artists in this update, you know, because I have like most of all of that, really. But these are things that will be in my Hawaiian records collection going forward, and you can hear selections from the albums I'm going to show you that have already been uploaded onto my hobby radio station called Hawaiian HiFi, which is on live365.com, and it's also linked down below, so you can check that out. Link down below in the description box if you would like to at any time. I also want to preface this by saying I know we're like not landscape. Is it called landscape when you're sideways? I don't know, the wide ways. I know this is like up and down. I just got this new ring light thing, standing pillar, you know, ring light that goes like up to 6 feet tall, and I got it at Ross. It was very cheap. And I thought, oh, this would be cool because it gives me a little more mobility to, you know, film from different places in the apartment or whatever. So that will be great. What I didn't realize until I got it home and was setting it up is that the phone holding apparatus does not go wide enough for you to have your phone sideways. So it's filming this way. So we're just gonna, I don't know whether that's going to really work out or not. We'll see. I'm just going to go with it today, and we'll see if it really makes that big of a difference to people. Let me know. If it really bugs you, we can figure something else out and not use this ring light because I still have my other one. Anyway, let's talk about records that I have recently acquired. First, I'm going to show you, as you may or may not know, I have been collecting recordings of the musical South Pacific. That wasn't something I initially was really into. I mean, I just sort of had the original ones in my Hawaiian collection. And I just wasn't personally that into South Pacific, but somehow over the years, more recently, since I just keep seeing them in thrift stores and dollar bins and whatever, I'm like, why am I not picking these up? They should be in my Hawaiian broad category record collection. So I have been. So I have some more that I will show you today. Yeah, South Pacific opened in 1949, if you don't know anything about it, on Broadway. It's based on James Michener's book, Tales of the South Pacific, which was a best-selling novel. And Rodgers Hammerstein thought they could make a good musical out of it, emphasizing the anti-racism theme, which is spread throughout the book on several different stories. And they were right. It was a very successful, one of the most successful Broadway musicals in history. At the time, it was the longest running show on Broadway in history. And I picked up some more South Pacific records. So I won't talk a lot about most of them. I'll just show them kind of to you and you'll get clips. But I did get this Oklahoma and South Pacific. This is interesting because it's Enoch Light and his orchestra. And this is an abridged version of the same recording, Oklahoma and South Pacific. Then there's this one, sort of non-committal again. This is a budget label, Coronet, South Pacific. I love the graphics on the back. It is by the Coronet Orchestra, whoever they are. This one's a little bit interesting. From the Music Theater of Lincoln Center, South Pacific, their production of South Pacific is from 1967. Starring, interestingly, or what's interesting to me about it, is it's starring Florence Henderson, you know, America's Mom, the Brady Bunch and all that. Of course, she did theater or whatnot, previous to being an actress, or at the same time as being an actress. I love Florence Henderson. Who doesn't love Florence Henderson? I loved her. But we will say that, interestingly, hearing the album, I don't particularly like her singing voice. A little bit shrill to me, just saying. That's just my opinion. I'm not a singer or an artist or whatever, so yeah. Interestingly, I didn't have this one, and I picked it up at a bargain bin. George Wright, organist, goes South Pacific. It is what you would expect it to be, an organ playing the songs from South Pacific. This one I was so excited to find in a dollar bin just because of the cover. I've seen this one many times on eBay and such, and it's quite expensive when it's in this particular cover. It is sort of a budget label, RCA Camden, Al Goodman and his orchestra doing South Pacific. Now, I do have 2 other records by Al Goodman doing South Pacific. And this is in fact one of them. I don't know whether this one or the other one came out first. I think this one was second. That is also on RCA. And then there is an Al Goodman and his orchestra South Pacific on Diplomat Records, which is a different recording, not the same as this one. But anyway, like I said, it's here because the cover is fabulous. People bid on this on eBay and such, and it fetches more, in online auctions or whatever, because the cover is so fantastic. That's why. And that's the only reason why. So now we have to talk about the last South Pacific record I got a little bit, which actually got in while I was in Arizona at like one of those antique mall places where people have different, different vendors. I love to go to those places. I love to look at those places. As far as records go, don't usually find records there. Sometimes CDs. I did get some new age CDs there, but don't usually find a lot of records in those places, and they usually charge an arm and a leg for a record. I'm not knocking them. I mean, if they're selling them for that, good for them. But this bargain bitch here, no, I'm not paying that kind of money for those records. But this one, I did. Because I didn't have it. I think I'd seen it, but I didn't quite realize what it was until I'm seeing it in this antique mall. It's Rodgers and Hammerstein South Pacific on Reprise Records. It's the Reprise Musical Repertory Theater, all arranged by Nelson Riddle. So this is not a compilation. These are not previously, it's not like these artists did songs from South Pacific on their own records and then they put them together on this. No, these are all recordings made for this record by this amazing array of artists, including Frank Sinatra, the McGuire sisters, Bing Crosby, etc. So many. In fact, you can see all of their floating heads on the back. And this is an incredible album. I mean, the arrangements are just so great, and the vocal performances obviously are so great. I mean, Sammy Davis Jr. doing, Carefully Taught, and There's Nothing Like a Dame, and Frank Sinatra doing Some Enchanted Evening. Debbie Reynolds is on here. The high-lows are fantastic on here. I just can't say enough about how great this recording is. It was $15, and that's why I kind of like, I don't know about that. But I kind of walked around and thought about it, and I said, you know what? Everything I'm getting on this trip always is like dollar record bin stuff anyway. So this one, let's spring for it. And I'm glad I did, because it is really a good record.
Happy talk, keep talking happy talk. Talk about things you'd like to do. You got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream of the sea, wherever your special island, come to me, your own special house, your own special.
feel restless, we feel blue, we feel lonely and in grief.
We feel every kind of feeling but the feeling of relief.
We are not alike. Probably I'd bore him. He's a cultured Frenchman. I'm a little hick.
Younger men than I.
If the man don't understand you, if you fly on separate beams, oh, waste no time, make a change. Ride that man right off your range. Rub him out of the roll call and drum him out of your dreams.
Some enchanted evening, you may see a stranger. You may see a stranger cross.
I'm as trite and as gay as a daisy in May, a cliche coming true. I'm bromidic and bright as a moon, happy night pouring light on the dew. I'm as corny as Kansas in August.
You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made, and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught.
Bloody Mary's chewing betel nuts. She is always chewing betel nuts. Bloody Mary's chewing betel nuts. And you bet she don't use Pepsodent. Now ain't that too damn bad?
Here's one that's a Tahitian record I picked up cheap, Manuiti Records. I love these records. Tahitian records from the 70s. They have, I love the shiny from France and from Tahiti. They have the glossy. England actually put out a lot of them too. Somewhat flimsy, kind of glossy covers. I love them. This is, I won't attempt to say this in French, but it's songs from Tahitian festival of songs of the canoes, basically. That's what we're talking about. They have great colorful pictures on them. This record, which is a comp, I believe, compilation, is no exception. Some great songs on here, and I really enjoyed this one. Interesting record. I've had this movie for a long time, loved it, primarily because of the song Moonflowers. We're talking about the road to Bali. This is a film that starred Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and Dorothy Lamour. And Dorothy Lamour sings Moonflowers in the film. I love that song. It was the first song I learned how to play on the steel guitar that I taught myself. Love that song. Strangely, on their, what is this, close to an official soundtrack recording of On the Road to Bali that Decca did, I don't know the story here, but they did not include Dorothy Lamour singing, because she sings in the film a few songs. They have Peggy Lee. Not that I'm complaining about Peggy Lee. I love me some Peggy Lee, but I'm just curious why why did they take Dorothy Lamour out and put Peggy Lee in to record her songs? And a very lovely version of Moonflowers, sung by Peggy Lee, is on this album. So, I mean, I'm quite happy with that. I don't know the story. They don't mention it. I tried to look online. I didn't really see anything about why did Dorothy Lamour not. Dorothy Lamour recorded for Decca. She had records on Decca, so I don't know. Couldn't have been like a contractual thing or something. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but anyway, it's Peggy Lee instead of Dorothy Lamour. And Moonflowers, really the Road to Bali, otherwise it's really not island kind of songs, but Moonflowers is such a fabulous song, and love the Dorothy Lamour version, love Peggy Lee, and the only other version I know of Moonflowers at all is on that Warren Barker? Yeah, Warren Barker, Sounds of Faraway Places or something album.
Romance comes with the moonflowers. Tonight the moonflowers will be in bloom.
We can do the bamba, we can shout caramba, from Vermont to Mexicali. So let's hit the road to Valley,
Where they do the calico. You pick yourself a partner, then you hesitate.
you put your arm around her, then you hesitate.
You dance her to a corner, then you hesitate.
Aloha! If you enjoy the vintage vinyl sounds of old Hawaii, music like what they play here at the luau, the old Hawaiian chants and drumming, the native dances, the beautiful falsetto singing, and the Hollywood sounds of the beautiful lush orchestras, the exotic sounds of the tiki bars. We play all of that and more on Hawaiian HiFi Radio on Live365.com. It's like a luau that never ends. Come on over and check us out. It's Hawaiian HiFi Radio, and the link is right below in the description box. You can just click right on that, and it will take you right here. And you're almost in time. You're just in time for the Kalua Pig.
Now we're going to talk about a couple of more current releases. I don't usually, I'm collecting vinyl, I'm collecting vintage vinyl, so most of what I'm presenting is always, kind of the 80s is the latest when they were really doing the LPs, vinyl. I mean, now, of course, they are doing vinyl again, and I don't collect it, the new stuff, and I do, I don't keep up with everything as I should, really, but I find once in a while I'm drawn to something new and I get it. So I did get a couple of new ones. That selections are up on Hawaiian HiFi that I wanted to talk about. One of them is a new record this year, 2023, by Mark Riddle. It is called Lahaina Sunset. Now, if you are familiar with Arthur Lyman and his Hawaiian Sunset Volume 1 and Volume 2 records, you would probably recognize the inspiration from that cover here, and also from the music itself. Now, I believe these are all songs that all songs written by Mark Riddle. He is a musician who has visited Lahaina previously, and these songs are all his compositions. And it's a beautiful album, very, very beautiful. If you like Arthur Lyman Hawaiian Sunset, Volume 1 and 2, you will like Lahaina Sunset, because it's a very similar sound. The vibes, the birds, some of the percussion. It's very, very beautiful, very nice. They even sort of imitated the little stereo sticker there. It's from Tikiyaki Productions. I, basically uploaded this whole album onto Hawaiian HiFi, and I would also want to say here, this is not a paid advertisement. I'm just putting this out there. Mr. Riddle has made a statement. I don't know how long he's going to be doing it for or whatever, but it was just recently when I'm filming this, just within the past couple of weeks, the wildfires on Maui that basically wiped out, not basically, they wiped out the town of Lahaina. It's off the map completely. The front part, the front historic row, everything, it's gone, everything. The whole entire town. And he is donating 100% of the sales from this recording and from the stick. You can get a stick if you don't want the vinyl. From digitiki.com. Visit digitiki.com. I don't know how long this offer is happening or whatever, but he is sending 100% of the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds of the sale of this album to the Maui Red Cross and the Hawaii Red Cross and the Maui Relief Fund therein. So, if you want some really beautiful traditional Exotica music and you want to help the island of Maui, help Lahaina, go to digitiki.com and order Lahaina Sunset. Finally today, this is a record when it came out I was excited to order. It's called Tropika by the Tikiyaki Orchestra. I will go on record, I have said it several times on Facebook and different places, that I'm a real fan of the Tikiyaki Orchestra. I have really, really loved everything that they've put out from the very beginning. Loved them because they stayed very true to that sort of traditional Exotica sound, Martin Denny, Arthur Lyman-esque. Like, I really like it. The vibes, maybe a little steel, bird calls, very sort of identifiable Exotica tiki bar music. Shag, obviously, doing the artwork here. It's all on the inside. It's beautiful. The vinyl itself, very pretty. Blue. This is new, actually, also from, I think, 2023. It's come out this year, I believe. Yeah, so I am, okay, I'm just going to be honest here, okay? Because Tikiyaki Orchestra, love them. I've loved everything they've done. I was a little disappointed in this, to me personally, just because, and I don't blame them. But, they kind of, on many of the songs here, they did definitely kind of explore out and veer off of what I would call the traditional Exotica sound. There are definitely songs on here that are more spy sounding, more surf sounding, more like they're kind of, going off in slightly different directions that still, with most modern people, I think still fall very much under the umbrella of Exotica, but not exactly to me personally, if that makes sense. I really like that traditional Exotica sound, tiki bar sound of bird calls and xylophones and percussions and ocean waves, and that's what I like. I don't like to veer personally. I'm not too much getting off into surf or spy music or any of that kind of stuff. Little Latin is okay. That's kind of fits in there. So, but there's some of all of that in here. But there's really only a couple songs that are really, I would call traditional Exotica. I have to say, I do want to say Space Tango. My favorite song. Love Space Tango. Such a really, really, really love that song. Anyway, I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm just saying it's not for a very traditionalist Exotica person, they did kind of branch out more than they have previously. And like I said, I don't blame them. What have they done? 4 or 5, you know, albums already. So sure, you know, I mean, are you going to be able to put out 10,000 records with exactly the same sound in it? You know, you're going to want to experiment. I understand that. Branch out a little bit, and that's fine. And they're welcome to do that. But this one for me, I didn't like it as much as I've liked their previous ones. Okay, I'm going to end on that note. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to see more. And don't forget, you can check out Hawaiian Hi-Fi Radio anytime, night or day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. I'm live 365. I don't make any money off the station at all. In fact, it costs me money a little bit to run it. So I also do have a Buy Me a Coffee account if you're interested in buying me a little coffee, because I love coffee, to help out with that, but that's not necessary. I would rather right now, in fact, that you go to digitiki.com and buy Lahaina Sunset from Mark Riddle, because you'll get great music and you'll help Maui. 100% of the proceeds will go towards helping Maui. So thanks for watching, and we will talk to you guys in the next video.